Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to experience something unique. The first ever in the history of the world humorous speech contest for District 48. Ladies and gentlemen, our first contestant, Ed Dominguez. The 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments, Ed Dominguez.
Do you all remember a few years back there was this commercial about football, about Coors Lights, and it went something like this. I love football on TV and twins. Remember that? It had these beautiful, voluptuous, blonde twin cheerleaders bouncing around. I love football on TV. Well, my perspective for that commercial changed when I became a father of twin girls. Oh yeah, it's not so cute anymore. Oh no, no. You know, my brother raised 2 man cubs. I'm raising 2 little ladies. Totally different worlds, completely different worlds. For example, as a father of girls, I must know every princess. I must know every little pony. And I've seen every Barbie movie ever made. Oh yeah, yeah, test me. Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, and my favorite, Rainbow Dash. There is Ariel. There is Cinderella. And a narcoleptic Sleeping Beauty. She has multiple personalities. She has no idea that she could be Briar Rose one minute and Aurora the next. Sick that I know that fact, isn't it? You know, a friend of mine told me, Ed, when my girls were first born, he goes, Ed, enjoy those first 10 years, 10, 11 years, for you're the king. I mean, they'll hang on your every word. It's good to be the king, enjoy it. But when they get about 12, 13, look out. You'll be on an emotional roller coaster ride of your life. You won't know them. You won't understand them. You can't possibly understand them at that age. You will feel like a moron. But hang in there, because when they get around 19, 20, they'll come back around again. You're the king, and they'll love and respect you more than ever before, because you know what? You've always been there for them. And I love that advice. You know, my girls are 6 now, so for 6 years I've been practicing it hard. You know. But that day is coming. When they're about 15, I can just imagine it now. Daddy, I want to drive the car, Daddy. Oh, yeah. Seriously? That's so gross. And guys in the room that have daughters, that day is coming when they say, but I love him. You know, there's a saying about raising boys versus raising girls. When you're raising boys, you have but one wee-wee to worry about. But yet when you're raising girls, you have lots and lots of them to worry about. My fellow Toastmasters, that is why I've started a club of my own. Dads against daughters dating. Oh yeah, I'm not just a member, I'm the VP of Public Relations. Who wants to join my cause? Dads in the room, let's have a round of applause. I saw this reverend on YouTube come up with 10 commandments for dating his daughter. I thought that was brilliant. I even put it on my own Facebook page. And I thought, you know what? I need to have 10 commandments for dating my daughter. So I came up with them, and here they are. And that day, when that boy shows up at homecoming to pick up my daughter, this is what I'm going to say to him. Boy, sit down. Here's my 10 commandments for dating my girl. Number 1, believe in God. He's the only one who's going to save your butt if you dare bring my daughter home late. Remember, I'm a black belt in karate. Don't ever forget that. I even know Krav Maga. Number 2, I want to meet your parents. Honor your mother and father. The way you treat your mother is a good indication of how you'll treat my little princess. And the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So the way you treat your father is a gentleman, guess what? You better be a gentleman too. Number 3. Number 3. is number 3. Honor your mother and father. Dress like a gentleman. Oh, yeah. You know, when my father, back in the 70s, worried about my sister dating a boy, he worried about an earring. Nowadays, we worry about nose rings, lip rings, tongue rings, and what is that earlobe with a plate sticking in it? Yuck! And boys, let me tell you something. If you walk around my house with your pants down low, show me that underwear, guess what? That gives me a full license to give you an atomic wedgie. Number 4, I'm bringing the Cuban tradition of chaperoning back. Oh, yeah. You want to go to a movie? Expect my wife and I to come along. And if I can't make it, my mother will go. Yeah, try making that move for the popcorn with Abuelita sitting in the middle. It ain't going to happen, Captain. She might like it, but she ain't going to happen. Number 5, don't cuss around my daughter. All right, don't call her your bleep or your bleepity bleep. Don't do it. Show her some respect. Number 6, don't commit murder. You know. And number 7, don't steal. You know, I don't want my daughter to be visiting you in jail because you stole, because you commit murder. Don't do that. And do not commit adultery. I don't want to see my daughter on an episode of Snap after she kills you. And number 9, do not bear false witness against my daughter. If she dumps you, so sad, too bad. I don't want to see your vicious little lies on your Facebook or on your Twitter. And lastly, I know my wife is beautiful. You don't have to think so. So get that perverted little thought right out of your mind. You know, my girls just turned 6. I got many, many years before I have to worry about them dating. Until then, I still like Coors Light. I'll always love football on TV, and I always will love my twins. Thank you.
Contestant number 2, Alice Delgardo. My personal summer. My personal summer, Alice Delgardo.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
I wasn't sure you were still there. Irma Bombeck said, I don't understand this generation. They've adjusted the timetable for childbearing so that menopause and teaching a 16-year-old how to drive a car occurs in the same week. Good evening, dignitaries, celebrities, guests, and friends of Toastmasters. I would like to ask if you would just give a show of hands of those who know or have heard about menopause. I see that there are some that didn't raise their hands. Not a problem. Keep living. Menopause, as described by the New England Journal of Medicine, is a change in a woman's life that happens to every woman. It is called an imbalance. There is an imbalance of hormones that causes symptoms. It marks the end of a woman's reproductive life. I will tell you from my vantage point, that's about the only good thing I can say about menopause. Don't get me wrong, please. I love my children. I love my grandchildren. But if that was to happen to me right now, I haven't been given the grace for that. But that's another discussion later. So let's talk about the symptoms of menopause. The symptoms of menopause are night sweats, abdominal weight gain, thinning hair, and there's another one. Memory loss. Men shudder at the thought of menopause, and women hate it. And in case you haven't figured out, I hate it! Menopause interferes with a whole host of things in one's life. But by another show of hands, can anyone tell me about menopause in men? Do you know that men can also suffer from menopause? Show of hands. I see head shaking. Okay, again, there are not a lot of hands raised here. Keep living. New England Journal of Medicine will tell us that only 3% of men suffer from menopause. Yes, men, you will suffer fatigue and low libido and even have some weight gain like women do. But Rita Rudner said that menopause for men is much different than women. It's much more fun. She says because men get to date young girls and ride motorcycles. I would like to share with you some things that can be done to combat the symptoms of menopause. I said memory loss, right? Okay. If I could describe a situation, how menopause has impacted my life. I'm in a meeting, and it's very clear that everyone who is at the conference table, they're younger than me. That's wonderful, no problem. But I start to glisten. And then you can see the nervousness. People are getting a little anxious around the table. And then I break out in a sweat. I'm having a hot flash. I call them affectionately my personal summers. So this hot flash is coming on, and people are getting worried. They get up from their chairs and come over to me. Are you okay? Are you all right? I'm fine. I'm just having a personal summer. Well, keep living, you'll understand. Here's the other thing I like about menopause. I'm on the phone speaking to a client. I'm on the phone and I'm speaking to a client, but I'm looking in my office for the phone. Oh, here's another one that's priceless. I finished meeting with the client, great meeting. I go out in the parking lot to get in the car. I put the bag on the car, looking for my keys. Mind you, I have this hand. The keys are in this hand, but I'm looking in the bag for the keys. There's something inherently wrong with this. Night sweats is a real problem, and I have to know that my husband loved me dearly because that man put up with the temperature being lowered on the AC and a fan. And I'm laying out like in a bikini. He's got all the comforters and the blankets on. And so my husband tried to help me out. He tried to help me. Unbeknownst to me, he had created this contraption. It was a fan with a water mist. It would deliver a mist, right? But I didn't know about that. And so, you know, he said, okay, he said, babe, I'm going to bed. I'll see you. Okay, fine. And I go in there. I don't think anything of it. I'm tired. I get in the bed. The next thing I know, I get hit with this water. And I threw my hands up in the air. He jumped because I startled him. He fell out the bed, which then pulled the comforter over, which then pulled the fan over, and we got drenched. Menopause. I would like to show you some things that I use to combat menopause in my travels, if I might. Now, depending on the size purse that I'm using, will dictate the size fan that I bring. Smaller purses require smaller fans. When I'm at my desk, I need a little bit more power. And if I want to be a fashionista about it, isn't that cute? If I want to get down and dirty, I just spray. But nothing does more than my Toastmaster magazine. Thank you very much.
Contestant number 3, Karen Smithman. Caveat emptor. Caveat emptor. Karen Smithman.
Caveat emptor is a Latin phrase that translates to let the buyer beware. Caveat emptor should be front of mind for anyone in the market for a 1979 Ford Pinto. Caveat emptor should be near and dear to all of us who shop online and purchase items sight unseen. But the buyer who must most beware, caveat emptor, is the one who just joined Match.com. Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. Previously owned vehicles come with layers of buyer protection, including limited dealership warranties and lemon laws. And I would imagine that most of you here tonight have heard of the Carfax report. It will give you detailed information about prior owners and all maintenance and repair records. Why, it will even tell you which coastal city a car was submerged in during the last major hurricane. But what assurances are there for people out shopping for love in places like Match.com? You know, I think that Brad Paisley really sings it best. I'm so much cooler online. But don't you think it is a deceptive sales practice to market yourself without disclosing all known defects? See, I've long thought that people should come with a report like a Carfax report. And I am thrilled to stand here tonight and tell all of you about my brand new service that creates just such a report. And I like to call it Matchfax. Here's how it works. This lovely lady here at the front table, she brought a date here with her tonight. And he's probably trying to convince her that he's somewhere around 39 years old. But lucky for her, she bought a Matchfax report, and she knows he's seriously rolling back the mileage. It says right there he was born in the era of the Edsel. Now, he might be trying to impress her with all of his extra options, like his beach house or his investment portfolio. Yeah, you already know his current credit rating, you got a list of his current real estate holdings, and you also know if he went underwater in the last major financial crisis. I've got your vital statistics. Who here, honestly, would not want to know the condition of the chassis? Okay, I will tell you all about the powertrain, the integrity of the frame. I will tell you if there are any replacement parts, rusty parts, missing parts, and operational reliability. Wouldn't you want to know that this model that you've been eyeballing has a tendency to overheat? And is possibly prone to the frequent addition of fluids? And honestly, is it even firing on all cylinders? Your Matchfax report comes with pictures. Recent pictures. Taken from all angles and superimposed on a height-width chart so that you can verify the previously stated dimensions. I have also figured out how to digitally alter all of the photos. So I can now remove all signs of Harley Davidsons, Learjets, and the ever popular 9-pound bass. The final section of your Matchfax report comes with data that has been pulled from various online public sources. It will give you a total of all major relationship breakdowns. Now, this is crucial information if you're going to be able to sniff out a lemon. Which brings us to the issue of clear title. If you do not have a current match facts report, you could go a long time without knowing that the object of your desire is only available for short-term lease. Because the alleged prior owner is still the current owner. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are in the market for a used car these days, I strongly recommend you get a Carfax report. As for the dating world, before you make any major acquisition, call me. Get your MatchFax report. Caveat emptor, my friends. We can't be too careful out there. The Toastmasters. Thank you. Thank you.
Speaker number 4, Jeff Thomas. My life's purpose. My life's purpose, Jeff Thomas.
Night after night, I lay awake, tormented by the troubling question. What is my life's purpose? Why was I put here? Why? The agony, that awful agony, finally ended late one night. When out of the darkness, I heard a voice. Jeffrey Scott Thomas, your purpose in life is to create the perfect lawn. Huh? You mean yard? You heard me. The perfect lawn. Huh? What's that? What do you want me to do? Jeffrey, have faith. Go forth, for you have been blessed with the green thumb. Jeffrey, may the thumb be with you. Yes, fellow Toastmasters, I was dubbed the Suburban Turf Warrior. Mr. Contest Master, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and most honored guests. My sacred mission in life was to restore my lawn to its former lush green glory. While my neighbors wasted time having fun with family and friends, I worked endless hours in my 6 by 10 foot front yard. Yes, I chose the road less traveled, the one marked by mental instability. After all, I was an artiste. The lawn, my canvas, the lawnmower, my brush, and my paint, ammonium sulfate. My high calling was not free of obstacles, and my adversaries were many, trespassers, all of them. I faced weeds, insects, and those arrogant intruders who exercise on my property, the neighborhood dog. I attacked some of these invaders with a weed gun and insecticide. I came to love the smell of mighty Thion early in the morning. The aroma in battle and victory won. Too bad I was not able to find the product called Dog Be Gone. Having faced my enemies, I focused attention on the lawn appearance because presentation was everything. I mean everything. A turning point came when I first accepted Miracle-Gro into my life. What Rogaine was to male pattern baldness, Miracle Grow was to my ever-ending growth. Finally, it was time to cut the lawn. My neighbors, slackers, lazy, every one of them mow their lawn once a week. It's nothing. I mowed mine twice. Every day. Rain or shine. Some said it was best to mow the lawn in rows parallel to the house. Others said perpendicular or at an angle. I came to understand that a true artist does all three in one cutting. First, the perpendicular cut, followed by the parallel, then capped with a crowning jewel, the piece of art, the 45-degree angle cut, revealing the rich texture, Picasso-like masterpiece. It doesn't get any better than that. I revel in my glory as I took the victory walk around the block, mocking all the other loser line. Bad failure, loser line. Fellow Toastmasters, I became a legend in my own mind. Today I no longer lay sleepless in Florida, except for that occasional recurring nightmare when I'm held down by giant crabgrass and mutant insects are crawling all around me. In a distance, I hear yelping to a Latin beat. And it gets louder and louder and louder. And suddenly I'm with the cha-cha doing the cha-cha-cha. 1, 2, whoop, whoop, whoop. 1, 2, whoop, whoop, whoop. I wake up screaming. And I reach for the bottle of Prozac, only to hear that familiar voice. Jeffrey! What about the backyard? Mr. Contest Master.
Speaker number 6, Christina Carnoni. Children are a pain. Children are a pain. Christina Carnoni.
I've earned every wrinkle that I have because I love my children. But let's face facts. Children are pain. Between the pain of having them and the joy of loving them is the dichotomy of the human condition. Am I masochist or a mother? Mr. Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guest. The pain of children has mocked us since time began. It's always been more fun to try to have them than to actually succeed. God Almighty had a problem with the first 2 kids. He did it. She dared me. I don't even like apples. They broke one rule, and the argumentative duo were out on their ears. If we did that today, family services would haul us out to jail. Even 100 years ago, at least we could put them to work when they were 6 or 7 years old. They were too tired to get into trouble. But now all you can do is reach for the migraine medicine and referee. Actually, sometimes I wonder if those instructions keep away from children were to protect us rather than to them. My pain started when I was in my late 20s. I thought I had dodged this bullet. I wasn't even supposed to have children. One year at an annual exam, could you be 5 months pregnant? Pregnant? No! Moses would have had an easier time getting across the desert. Moses made it, and so did you. Mazel tov. You should have seen me 4 months later, double my body weight. I was in labor for a week. I went to the hospital 3 times. They kept sending me home walk. I walked 1,000 miles. This kid didn't want to come out. I can't blame him. It's a cold, cruel world out here. And he was comfortable. He had all the food he could eat and free cable. But if anybody ever tells you that pushing 8 pounds out of any part of your body doesn't hurt, they're lying through their teeth. So I really wasn't too disappointed when they told me no more children. 4 more years later, I was in the same situation. This time when labor started, I had a plan. I started drinking heavily. Now that killed the pain. Until 2 a.m. in the morning. The doctor insisted I come to the hospital. My husband looked out at the mountains of snow. Really? He hyperventilated as he labored with his anxiety, peering through the windshield at the snow flurries, inching the way to the hospital in the car. I coached him. Breathe, honey. Just like me. To tell you the truth, several years later, I really did cry when I had to give away all the baby things. No more children. But it did seem that the 3rd time was the charm. The doctor decided to induce labor. They came in 9 hours later, and the nurse said, "We can't find his head." "You can't find his head? Look again. It was there in the sonogram last month. I'm sure it didn't fall out by itself." Now, this was the end of a long and miserable pregnancy, one after which I had ascertained the pregnancy was a young person's disease. As they strapped me down, I looked over. "Doc, I've made my 2.5 kid quota. I'm done." "Are you sure? We usually don't let women make these kind of decisions under duress." "Do I look like I'm kidding you here?" Between us, the reason they call the birthing process labor is because it's only the beginning of the work. Now you have to pay for them. $250,000 in this economy. That's why the emblem on my car says Toyota and not Ferrari. Ironically, the sharpest pain children can cause is if something happens to them or if you lose one. I love the source of my pain. All parents do, don't you? Don't you love them? In my mind's eye, that just got to be some kind of masochism. Love hurts. We can take it. The risk of pain is worth the joyful reward. So knock me senseless and give me some grandkids. Mr. Contest Master.
And now, we have the results of the contest. Have a drum roll. In third place in the District 48 Humorous Speech Contest, Jeff Thomas. In second place, Alice Delgardo. And now, fellow Toastmasters and guests, let's all stand to acknowledge the champion, our first place speaker tonight, Karen Smithman.